Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. I'm back from travelling from work. I'm in my tiny book nook, book hub, and I ordered a few things when I was away. So I've actually got a few things coming up. I've got another condition lottery coming up from the same company because it was so successful last time. In terms of my retirement library, it was very successful. I've got 2 book hauls. One, which is the one we'll do today, which is 27 books. And there's an even bigger box under that, which I think is 74 books. So I'm addicted. We know that. I love opening these boxes. I love running through these old books. And I love taking you with me, basically. So today will be a 27 book haul. There's a couple of things that I remember again that caught my eye. I'll go through in terms of the cost. eBay again. The 74 book haul was a much better deal per unit, and that's obviously or usually the case in terms of savings based on scale, for example. And then another kind of strange, slightly off topic one that I've got coming up is my wife and I changed our supplier for pet insurance. For the two girls that you've met, Penelope and Mabel, and we got £100 Amazon gift voucher that came through. So I've also got a couple of boxes of things that I bought for that. So I don't buy a lot from Amazon. I do try to go local bookshops or comic shops or secondhand bookshops, etc., to get most of my things. But if you're going to get a free £100 gift voucher, you're going to spend it. So I actually went. I didn't go. It's sci-fi, it's all sci-fi, I think pretty much all sci-fi. It's obviously modern, and it's mainly comic book or trade paperback, etc., graphic novel related. I think I got a couple of novels, I'm not sure. So I might also throw that in as a short or a 10-minuter. Some of you may be interested, some of you not. I know some people probably see this channel, see that these shelves are filled with trade paperbacks and omnibuses and figures and think, this isn't for me, maybe. I'm a very kind of open reader in terms of if it's a great story. For me, it doesn't really matter if it's film, TV, sequential art, novella, huge novel, etc. It's a great story is a great story. Great characters are great characters. Great writing is great writing if it's a screenplay, poetry, etc. So I bought a couple of things from my wish list, a couple of novels as well. I think, if I remember rightly, some famous things, some things that have been doing really well that I was like, why are these doing so well? I need to check them out. So I also do that every so often. But anyway, back to today. I've got this box that I just showed you, 27 books, and before we start, I'm going to tell you actually that it works out about £1.35 a unit, which is basically the postage plus all of the books. This is from a seller that I don't think sells books. I think it's like maybe a house clear out when they go in and do lofts, etc., house clearance type place, because most of their lots weren't books. There was a few books in there, but it wasn't an actual bookseller, and I buy a lot from kind of vintage booksellers and those kind of sellers. So this is slightly different. It went down in price a few times and no one pulled the trigger. There are a couple of books in here that I think are really rare, or I've never seen, or I've never seen in the wild, or I've bought a copy or they're too expensive. The problem is, I think, condition. So I'm very interested to jump in here because I've been away for work for a while, a few weeks. I've forgotten again what's in here, which is always the way with me, you'll see. So basically, I'm going to open the box now. We'll go through one by one. You might see Mabel and Pip again. I hope that you see the cats more because, you know, they're the best bit of my videos, really, aren't they? They're the best bit of my life. So they should be the best bit of the videos. So let's get in now. That was pretty easy to open, I think. Yes. A little bit of packaging here, but I can see the book straight away. And I'll move it down to the right so we can actually a bit more space. And let's see what we have. So most of this, I think, if I remember rightly, was vintage sci-fi. I think there may have been a few fantasy. Cheers. So basically, like I do before, I'm not doing it with my lists or anything, but I should know from memory if I have a copy, might be an upgrade, something that I want to keep as a reader copy, or it could be that I want to move it on. And usually moving it on is I go to my local Age UK. They're lovely people there, and in essence, they always need stock. And I've always thought if I walk into one of these shops and I see a good batch of vintage sci-fi, I get excited, and I'm sure there's other people out there like that. I have no idea how they price them. I don't care, obviously. I just hope that these ones that don't fit for my library, or a fantasy that I don't want to keep, or I already have a copy, I just hope they go to a good home, basically. I very rarely sell on, but my goal would be eventually, depending on work, depending on the new house. So those that don't know, the new house, which is the place that I want to build the perfect retirement library, science fiction retirement library, hence the title. We should be going up in August. It's now April. We should be going up in August to have a look around the locations where the house may possibly be. And that's in Scotland. So that's, again, maybe the slight difference with this channel is I'm hoping to take you up with me, maybe see some of the places that I'm looking at, and eventually, as I said in my first video, it could take 10 years, it could take 1 year, we don't know, but I would love to get to a point where this journey takes me all the way to this blank room that in my mind has this perfect floor-to-ceiling bookshelf, desk in the center, old mahogany desk, or leather top desk, and all of these things I'm purchasing also in my storage unit, the things that I love, I can curate within this library. So the rest of the house can be my wife's. I just want this one room, hopefully bigger than this little box. It's not much bigger than you can see on the camera. So okay, let's get to it. Too much waffling. Little bit of packaging, not a lot, and let's go. So I can see Corgi straight away. So interestingly, on the Corgi side, I'm reading a Corgi at the moment. I don't think I have it in here. I'm reading Brian Aldiss, Barefoot in Your Head. I finished Godpain when I was away, and I took that with me. So Godpain, I will talk about that because it was my first real Harlan Ellison, and I was very impressed. And the thing I really liked is, between, these are short stories, it was seven short stories. Between the short stories, it was Harlan Ellison explaining a little bit about the stories, but also he can't help himself. He starts talking about other things, little hints of his morality, ethics, politics, whatever. And it was just really interesting to get those before the story itself. I have to say, like I think I told you before about Saving East of Eden, because I'm a Steinbeck fan, Ellison is one that I'm still really excited about after reading that. And that was just 7 stories. It's not really, it's here by the way, it's not really massively talked about, I don't think, or haven't seen, but it definitely gave me a flavour, and it definitely made me feel this guy is someone that I will appreciate more and more in life. So yeah, I will review that at some stage, probably when I finish the Brian Aldiss. I'm also reading this. So I wasn't going to give a reading update, but I'm also reading this. Alan Moore, genius and horror in my mind. I've got the original Swamp Thing up there, for example, V for Vendetta. I've got Miracle Man somewhere. He obviously changed comics and writing. I tried to read Jerusalem a few years ago, and I got about halfway, and it was clever, but it wore me down. And so I thought I'd try some of the short fiction, the novella stuff, and generally it's okay, but it's not blowing me away again. So anyway, short reading update. So let's have a look. So I said I can see Corgi. So the first corgi is Samuel R. Delaney, Triton. Now, I don't have a lot of Samuel R. Delaney. I have read Samuel R. Delaney in the Sci-Fi Masterworks. I will probably have to check. I always get these wrong. I think I got them wrong in the last video. I think Nova is one of the big ones. So I haven't got this. I haven't got Triton. Corgi, the new novel of a kaleidoscopic future by the author of Dahlgren, 4-time Nebula Award winner. So let me have a look. This looks slightly older. No, this Corgi edition, 1977. Pretty good condition. It's quite mucky. I think that's muck. But quite a square-ish text block. Front's pretty good. Interplanetary war, diplomatic intrigues that topple worlds, a completely new philosophy of existence. So yeah, I think is that his longest novel? I've heard a bit about it, but not a lot. So intrigued. And again, if I could know who that front cover artist is, that would also help. I'm really trying to learn more of that. Okay, it doesn't say. I wish it would say. That was what was good about those penguins, it said on the back. But first book, I'm very happy with that. It's definitely good enough quality for my science fiction retirement library. I remember liking Babel 17 and Nova. I always get, for some reason, I get Nova mixed up with Gem. Completely different stories, completely different authors. But there's something in me from 20 years ago or whenever, when I read the full Sci-Fi Masterworks that's there. So really good start. So I'm going to put that over here. Corgi. Okay, interesting. So L. Sprague de Camp. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think this is one of the classics, you know, the 50s authors, heyday, golden era, etc. The Fallible Fiend, co-author of the Conan stories. Now, this is Sphere, so I'm presuming it's science fiction, but I do think there is a hint of fantasy in some of these. So, even demons make mistakes. Zadim, demon of the enlightened 12th plane, found it hard to understand his puny prime plane masters. So, if I thought about, you know, if I kind of saw that on a blurb and thought, am I going to buy a book based on that? I probably wouldn't, but again, pretty good condition. A little bending there. Never give an ogre an even break. That's quite cool. Also by L. Sprague de Camp. So, okay, no, so it's not. It's 1978. Why did I think that L. Sprague de Camp was so much earlier? Maybe I'm mistaken, but even if he was earlier, a he or a she, I will check that. Okay, is a he, and is one of the golden age, born in early 1900s, so I was right about that. But this is very old, so this was when he was quite old, if that's the case. So again, I don't have any L. Sprague de Camp, and it does say, and don't miss these other fantasy greats. So maybe this is one I want to move on, but pretty good condition, and it's Sphere, so it is good enough for my collection. It's just something that definitely would not be on the top of my list to read. Okay, so far so good. So number 3, nice, again, nice condition. So Gordon R. Dixon, if you watched any of my other videos, there was an interesting Gordon R. Dixon book size comparison, let's call it that. But here, the forerunner to his award-winning Doorside trilogy, which I haven't read, is Necromancer. Now, that's a pretty good cover. Sphere again, really good condition again. I'm actually surprised at the condition here, because there was one picture again, and you never know, and they were just on a table with that on top. That's actually pretty good condition again. Ooh, a bit kind of musty. Yeah, they've definitely been stored for a long time rather than on a bookshelf, is my guess. But it looks unread again. It looks unread. A little bit grimy, but looks unread. One page flicked over. So originally 1962, published by Sphere 1979. So again, sweet spot. Future magic. At the crisis point of humanity's near future, the mysterious cult called the Chantry Guild arose. It was the Guild's contention that a computerized world society would reduce Earth's millions to a mass of faceless biped ants and finally collapse under its own weight. Interesting. After the kerfuffle with Gordon R. Dixon, I think it's Outlander was the book I was talking about, I am intrigued to read this guy. So that is excellent third book. Probably my favourite of the three so far, even though Delaney is, in my knowledge, is way more celebrated than Dixon. This is just a fantastic book with a fantastic cover. So far so good. £1.35 each. I would have bought at least two of those for £1.35 if I was out in a bookstore. Okay, I think Penelope has just come in as well, so you might see one of the beautiful girls again. Let me move some of those books so she can get up if she would like to get up. We would all like her to get up, obviously. Okay, let's have a look. Well, she might come from this side, so look both ways. If she does, she might jump and hit the beer. Now, this is an author I haven't heard of. Andrew J. Offord, The Castle Keeps. Very interesting cover again, shoulder pads, amazing uniform, strange gun, and this is Magnum. Again, really good condition. Slight, yeah, not too much. Slight bending, binding roll. The Castle Keeps. Earth was in chaos. Could civilization ever return to the planet of terror? The Andrews Hilltop home had become a fortified castle. Jeff Andrews. Now, if that's Jeff Andrews, any Jeff Andrews out there, I'm sorry, but is it superhero name? Jeff Andrews. Maybe. Jeff Andrews has only ancient weapons to protect his isolated family from the ravages of roving bands of rippers. Okay, so obviously not superhero, but I mean like science fiction, leading man. The cordials in the city seem more secure in the protection of their sealed up apartment building, but they too are gripped by terror, struggling against the hardships of their artificial environment and the dangers that lurk outside. Interesting book. One of those ones I would love to read. Time. Wraparound cover. Really good condition. Must be 70s. Magnum books. And here comes Penelope. And you okay? Yeah, you shouldn't eat the sellotape. So 1972, Berkeley Medallion, so Magnum. Oh no, sorry. Copyright 1972, this is 1978, Magnum edition. So again, it looks unread. And I've never seen it before, so I'm very happy with that. Never heard of Andrew J. Offord. This hobby continues to surprise, and I'm happy that that's in my collection. Right, Penelope, are you going to help me? Huh? Which one should I get? No, you can't go inside. She's trying to get in the box. The box is on top of another box. And this little girl, this beautiful little girl, is trying to get in the box. Next one. Okay, this is probably the worst condition we've had so far. Please don't eat it. I'm going to move that down, okay? And please don't go inside. You keep doing that. Like, you go there and say hi. Please don't go inside. Okay, this is probably the worst condition. New English Library. It's unfortunate because I do like the cover. I like his eyebrows. I like his hair over the ears. Very Star Trek, villainesque. Number 2 in a mind-spinning new series by, and another great author name, Tully Zetford. I thought it was double Z. Tully Zetford, star-spanning man of the future, Hook, the boosted man. The universe hides many menaces, awful diseases, fearful storms, the emptiness of space that drives men mad, but man can create his own dangers too. The boosted men are almost supermen. Wow. So 30p in the UK originally, NEL. This one looks a little bit discoloured. So 1974, an NEL original. So a first edition, first paperback edition, wraparound cover, tiny, thin. It looks like it's been in a damp place, but I am going to keep it because I haven't got any books by Tully Zetford. I never searched for that name. I've never seen it. And it's number 2 in a series. So the way this hobby works is I will find another Boosted Man at some point, somewhere. And it will intrigue me and make me happy to find it. So I'll keep that one. Obviously not the best one so far, but interesting all the same. Right, I seem to get this quite a lot. I think I've got a couple of copies of this, and maybe it's forcing me. I should read this very soon. So Robert Heinlein, Assignment in Eternity. The Federal Bureau of Security sends one of its top agents to Earth from the moon carrying a spool of microfilm of incalculable value. Good premise. Assignment in Eternity. This new edition, 1977, NEL. So I need to see it. I've got this edition. I'm pretty sure I've got an NEL edition. I just need to find it. So this is one for a separate pile, which is it an upgrade or not? So is this condition better than the one I've got? Is it a reprint? Is it a different edition? Do I keep it or do I pass it on? Again, it's ideal for my retirement library, but I don't want to. I'll have multiple editions of a book, but I'm not going to have multiple same editions of the same book, in the same format, for example. I'm going to keep the best one and pass on the others. Okay. Now this was one of the ones that I actually saw on the picture and thought, I've always been intrigued by that book. And I've heard other booktubers mention it. It's a series, and it's the pictures of these beings that has always intrigued me. If I say Ewok, you might know what I'm talking about already, but H. Beam Piper, The Fuzzy Papers. Now, I think this is a series of these strange little things. Look at that. I don't know, it just makes me smile to think there is a book of that length. I think it's a whole series, so this is one book of a series of that length to do with these little characters. And I've got to read the back. Oh no, now in one superb volume. So this is the two, Little Fuzzy and Fuzzy Sapiens, the classic duo. So Zarathustra was a Class 3 planet, the home of the Fuzzies, the first intelligent life form discovered outside Earth. And again, wrap around, there they are. But Zarathustra was owned by the company, and so the Fuzzies were in deadly danger from the company who would exterminate them. It's kind of if you really see there, from the company. I'm stalling, but it's also very strangely punctuated. From the men who would exploit them and from their own genetic inheritance. So is this a forerunner of like an Avatar thing, maybe? If so, characters design, Avatar, But again, pretty good condition. There is discoloration of this one looks like it's been eaten by something. So maybe there's been mice around. There are little holes. I'm not too worried about that. Futura, so Orbit, 1962 originally. This is 1979. Part 1, Little Fuzzy. That eating only goes through a few pages. Jack Holloway found himself squinting, the orange sun full in his eyes. So, again, good enough condition from my retirement library. 2 classics, sci-fi novels, now in 1 volume. I will probably try to get the 2 separately, but that's really nice. 1979. Very good. And that was one that I noticed that I haven't got and I wanted. Okay, how many have we gone through? 3, 6, 7. So this is book 8. Now, Mayflower Science Fantasy, Thomas Burnett Swan, The Forest of Forever. So there's an elf, fawny elf type forest creature on the front. Nice art. 46p. on a sticker, 30 written in pen, Mayflower size fancy. Probably, again, this is the worst condition. An unforgettable fancy of prehistory and the last Minotaur. So that kind of thing, I don't know why, it just doesn't really appeal to me. Even fantasy films, etc., don't really appeal to me unless we go back, you know, to my childhood, for example. 1975, so right in the timeline. It is discoloured but looks unread again, but then it's very grimy. But that's one I will pass on. So it's the first one from the definite pass on pile. I'll do a little research before I pass it on, because sometimes there's some very rare things. And I've had them in some of my hauls. People have pointed out that I was very lucky to get a couple of the books that I got. They were keepers anyway, just because they were science fiction and I didn't have them, but actually they're worth more than I realised, even in the condition they were in. But this one's one to pass on for sure. Age UK, probably. Okay, I think I've got this one. I think I got this one in a pretty recent book haul, like i.e. this year. Wild Talent, Wilson Tucker, the ESP classic from the author of The Lincoln Hunters. I recognise that cover, which you would, because it's pretty recognisable, let's say. What is Paul Breen? An ordinary patriotic American with unusual powers, or the first chilling incarnation of a threat that has haunted the mind of man ever since he first gazed into the heavens? The threat of invasion from another planet. I really like that as a premise. Yes, superpowers, or, I don't know, infiltrated by an alien. So Coronet, this one 1980, but the story is 1954. For Paul Breen, wherever he may be hiding. Again, looks unread. It looks unread, but there's always a couple of pages that look folded over, but not folded over for reading purposes. But nice. So I will check that. That's one. Oh, it's actually got a strange... that line there is like a sticker. It's like an elastic band that's melted on. So I thought it was really good condition. That might not be an upgrade, so I need to check. I might be able to get that off, but it looks a bit stuck on. But good one. That's on the pile with Heinlein to check. Okay. It actually said in here, the Lincoln Hunters, Wilson Tucker. This isn't the Lincoln Hunters, it's the Long Loud Silence, which was also mentioned. Now, very similar face, maybe similar artist there. So Wilson Tucker again. The city lay lifeless under the black night sky. Corporal Russell Gary knew how to live by his wits and a gun. Russell Gary. Is it better than this? Was it Jeff? Jeff, the leading man. Again, 1953. This one, 1980. So same series, maybe, same Coronet. Yeah, they go pretty well together. I think they're pretty well kind of publishing pair, let's say. Award-winning author of the year of The Quiet Sun. So they're trying to sell other Wilson Tuckers. So, little bit bent, little bit open. I think I could probably... Yeah, some of these pages are a little bit problematic, but I could probably press that. I haven't got a copy of that one, I'm pretty sure. The other one I do have a copy of. So for now, if I only have one copy, I will keep it for my science fiction time library. It's a bit flimsy. I don't know if that's like 1980s, suddenly the paper quality went down, but feels flimsier than the others. But still, a keeper. Okay, now, I always have one or two books that attract me to a lot. And this was probably the number one. Now, my worry was the condition. I think I've told you before many times, the pan lozenges, I'm collecting them. Many people collect them because they're just so nice. And I have not seen this one anywhere, even online. And I saw it in the middle of the screenshot. And this is Stars of Albion, edited by Robert Holdstock and Christopher Priest. Now, I saw this straight away, the teacup. I knew the cover because I was researching what I still needed. The actual cover is in good condition, but the book itself, but I think this is pretty hard to get. Again, the pages are, rolled over. I don't know what's been happening with these. It must be storage, because again, it doesn't look red. And I think I could clean that up. It's not faded. The cover is in good condition. 12 stories from today's British science fiction scene. So a great book in itself, like one that I would read. So Aldous, Ballard, Bob Shaw, John Brunner, Christopher Priest, David S. Garnett, Robert Holdstock, Josephine Saxton, Barrington J. Bailey, David Masson, I don't know why I put a French accent, Ian Watson and Keith Roberts. So really good condition. I don't have it. I will keep it, but another one maybe to press. And I will try to do that, because this is I think it's a rare one. You tell me if you think this is a rare one. I've really struggled to get this. So if you found it, and you see it all the time, let me know. I could be completely wrong, but it's one of the ones that has escaped me for the last year or so when I started really looking at these books. So nice. Very happy with that one. That was one that attracted me to this. And the thing is, again, £1.35. I'm not going to get any pan lozenge for £1.35, I don't think. So pretty happy with that. Next, R.W. Mackelworth, StarFlight 3000. Now, great little book. It's got a price sticker, unfortunately, over the name, but apart from that, good condition. Very old school retro cover. 3000. Some of these designs wouldn't happen now, but you can hardly see the 3000 with the green and the planet. But no barcode. StarFlight 3000 looks into the distant future when a new race has evolved on the moon. So yeah, this was it was when the moon was the height of all exotic space adventure. NEL again, 1972, so slightly earlier one. There have been a few early ones. Again, doesn't look red. The pages, the text block is really good. It's just dirty. I think they've just been stored. So I've never heard of R.W. Mackelworth. When I've said that before, people have come in the comments and says, how can you not have heard of XYZ? Come on, a brain is limited in terms of information. There might be some stuff that I know that you don't know, maybe. I doubt it. But there's also stuff that you know that I don't know, for definite. R.W. Mackelworth, StarFlight 3000. Happy with that? Definitely in my retirement library. Oh, was it in here? So I nearly said that I don't know anything about this author. So yes, so sorry, just to go back to this book. David S. Garnett, Warlord of Earth is a short story in here. I hadn't heard of David S. Garnett. I've now got a book. Time in Eclipse, David S. Garnett. On the surface, medieval armies squabble endlessly over the remains of habitable Earth. A nice dying Earth tale. Underground, shifts of watchers scan the video screens and ensure that nothing endangers the status quo. A stable world until, here we go, until the android giants, clockwork pygmies and extinct elephants start to materialize. Oh my Jesus. Arrow, don't have a lot of Arrow, but like Arrow, that sounds phenomenal. I might need to jump on my TBR. Until the android giants, clockwork pygmies, pygmy humans, pygmy hippos, and extinct elephants start to materialize. Wow. Another wraparound cover. Oh, is that a pygmy? No, it's like a Monty Python knight. His name was first Supreme Guardian of Earth, or so Machine said. Wow. So Time in Eclipse, Arrow Books. 1974, Arrow edition 1976. Intrigued by that. Not the best condition. It is a little bit but it's one with the not adverts, but oh no, it is, yeah, protect your property with CIS. It's an insurance company advertising through a science fiction book. Really happy with that one. A little bit faded, but really happy. Okay, this is one I see quite a lot of, or at least the series I see a lot of, and I've never jumped in because I think there's hundreds. That's an exaggeration, but there are many, many. So Orbit, Perry Rodan 6 by Clark Dalton, The Secret of Time book. So these are tiny, pulpy, easy to read sci-fi adventures, I think. And I don't hear of many collectors of this, and you see them everywhere. Like one of my favourite bookshops, as you know, in Rochester, it has lots of these, never in good condition either. So eventually I will probably start to look at these, but for now they don't really attract me. For 13 years now, Perry Rodan has been acknowledged to the world's top-selling acknowledged to be the world's top-selling science fiction series. Originally published in a magazine form in Germany. Okay, so there's a lot of history here. This one, 1975, first published. So is this first published? Is this first? So yeah, I will keep it. I don't think I've got any Perry Rodan, but I need to look. Again, probably pronouncing it wrong, but nice, not bad. Not great condition, but keep it as a reader copy. I think we're more than halfway through, about halfway through. Nice. This was one that I saw, and I don't think I've got a copy of this. So Simak, Ring Around the Sun. It's quite shiny. It feels a little bit newer. Again, this was my worry, and I think this was why they were cheap. So I'm just turning the light on the screen again. I've got this white light coming from the screen. Can I save these books? Because apart from that, they're in really good condition. So NEL again, Ring Around the Sun, Simak, who I do want to read more of for sure. I read City recently. 1979, but originally in 1950s. Book, and again, good condition. Just a little bit skew-if, I would say, but definitely one to keep. That looks like an intriguing spider, I don't know, moon cart type thing as well. Nice one. So the pile for keepers is very big and not much fancy at all, only one fantasy. Saying that, a Del Rey fantasy. I didn't plan that. Yardif Bey was as evil a wizard as ever there was, and he would stop at nothing to destroy the kingdom forever. The Star Followers of Coromond, an enchanting fantasy by Brian Daly. I'm sure there's a lot of joy in these books for the right reader, but it's nothing for me. First time in print, so is this a first edition, first paper? 1979, Brian Daly, and as you know, I do like Del Rey. Anything with a map as well. All the fantasies always have a map. It's always a quest, isn't it? To find something, to defeat something. 90p sticker from way back. So again, I'll look it up. I'll put it with the Thomas Burnett Swan. Probably one to go to Age UK. But you never know. Oh, the strange thing is, I'm not sure what's going on with that baby, but that's not the best cover. Okay. Oh, it's a slightly bigger book. Sphere Science Fiction. George Turner, the sci-fi epic of the year, Beloved Son. Now, I do remember seeing this also on the picture and being quite intrigued by it. Very simple cover. I didn't realise it was that big, I have to say, because I only saw the front covers. 2032, England is gone. The proud industrial nations have destroyed themselves. In a post-cataclysmic Australia, humanity survives by ruthless genetic engineering and a cult of youth. Cult of youth. How dare they? Beloved Son. 1978. This edition, 1979. The Truth About History. Yeah, so... Look, this is what I see a lot. So that's actually at the top. I've been seeing it on the bottom. It's like they're unread, but someone's had a laugh and just earmarked a few pages. Slightly bent out shape again, but good enough condition, no fading, good on a shelf, and one of those books that eventually I would love to get my teeth into. Move those books slightly across. Okay, Good condition again. This is Penguin, I think. Yeah, Penguin SF. Sheila MacLeod, Xanth and the Robots. And there's a cover for you. Xanth and the Robots. Look at that heart inside. And the angle of the opening of the door. That's pretty hard to create. He's got another one there, but that can't be a heart. Oh, he's got another one there. So intriguing bald man looking down at his heart. Oh, and on the back, even better. Xanth is a member, female. Xanth is a member, female, of a research team which is investigating the possibilities of humanoid robots in a world of chaos and starvation. Great start. Penguin Sailor, Xanth and the Robots, Sheila MacLeod. 1979. So Furbush, Bodley Head, 1977. Published in Penguin, 1979. Two types of robot have been produced: the pragmapractors, who do the conventional manual work, and the philophrenics, who have been programmed to more human levels to feel affection, to talk, and even construct themselves. The question is, should they be allowed to go further? This is a remarkable story blending the best of both science fiction and the mainstream novel of character. Nice. Illustration was Adrian Chesterman. Did I have Adrian Chesterman before? Maybe in the other Penguins, but that's definitely a fantastic book for my retirement library. Okay, I'm back. And the next one, okay, it's a door, and most of these I think have been British. It's a door. To Challenge Chaos by Brian Stableford. Last trip out to the only world that spans two universes. And there's a trippy cover with someone, that's a person, I think. Maybe going across universes. That's a really interesting portrayal. So a door, unfortunately there's a little sticker over the yellow door and it says number 7. So a door original. So is that number 7 as in this is old? Yeah, 1972. Cover art by Kelly Frias. Really good condition again, unread condition. Slightly grimy, I definitely can clean that. I'm hoping that white comes up a bit better and maybe I'll try to get that off, but I don't have many door. I did pick up a few when I was in the US last year. But that's great. I'll definitely try and clean that. Sorry, bit of distractions all round, cats and wife and other things. That's what happens, and it's fine. So yes, this is someone I really want to read, Barry N. Malzberg. So I've heard a lot of good things about him from people on YouTube or BookTube that I respect their opinions. So The Sodom and Gomorrah Business. Very strange cover, can't really work it out. Winner of the John Campbell Award for this year's best science fiction novel, Arrow. So a really good range in this box. Couple of Arrow as well. So Institute courses told a grim story about the network, that savage world beyond the closely guarded Institute gates. But they wanted to see for themselves. They had to know. Were there really females there? Okay. Oh, it's not a world just full of men, is it? Would their training as mercenaries prepare them for the wild bands of grisly subhumans? Oh, intrigued. Not really sure what's going on. Great condition, again, apart from a bit grimy. Would love to know the story of these books. Let's have a look. First published in Great Britain by Arrow Books, 1979. So this might be the first UK paperback again. And if so, it really is a little bit, yeah, a little bit off centre, but generally good. I'm very happy with that. I haven't got any Malzberg, or if I have, it's 1 or 2 packed away somewhere. So very happy with that. Really good. This is, I have to say, this is much better than I expected. I kind of just took a punt. For £1.35, I thought, what's the worst that could happen? And the quality has been much better than expected, the condition, and the types of books. Okay, David Jarrett, Witherwing, a brilliant fantasy saga of black sorcery and uncanny excitement. Every time I talk really highly of this, I then get a fantasy. But this is again good condition. Swan cursed, of woman he was born to the royal house of Tumbalum. Yeah, it's not for me. Some of the naming and stuff is too much for me sometimes. First published by Sphere Books, 1979. David Jarrett, 1979. Oh, so this again might be a first. Another ear. I hope someone has read all of these, but it feels like they haven't. They're in too good condition for their age to have been. Maybe they were politely, carefully read. But that's probably one. There's a small pile of Fantasy 3 books now, which is probably going to my charity shop. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books left by the looks of it. So that's, I think, 20 over there. So let's have a look. Okay, an E. Doc Smith. Now, eventually, I do want to get all of these in good condition, the orange ones. But whenever I see them, they're always heavily read. And I think this is the first Panther. But E. Doc Smith Skylark series, Skylark Duquesne. Again, pronunciation awful, but Galactic Double Cross and Interstellar War. Scientists Dick Seaton and Mark Duquesne were the deadliest enemies in the galaxy. I do want to read some E. Doc Smith. It is foundational for what I read now, etc., even if it's modern. So, Death from the Fourth Dimension. Oh, that's another book. The fourth novel in the Skylark series. So I'd love to get all of them. I don't think I've got this one. I think I've got some of the others. None of them in great condition. So this is first published in Great Britain, 1904 by Panther Books. So this might be a first UK paperback. Not bad condition, internally, externally. Again, it's all a bit, this has been read. It's all a bit grimy, but I don't think I have it. Read a copy in my collection until I get an upgrade or other. Very good. First, I was just about to say Poul Anderson. It's not. It's Colin Anderson Magellan. And look, this is very modern for back then because they didn't capitalise the first names. You see a lot of that now, but I don't remember seeing that back in the day. So Sphere Science Fiction, Magellan, 100 square miles of super city and lost outpost of a civilization devastated by nuclear war. Yep, I'm in. Colin Anderson. 1970 by Victor Gallant, first Sphere Books, 1971. Yuri ran towards Magellan along the rusting iron-railed inspection way that dangled above the underground river. His mind outran his body. He was terrified that, like the man he'd just killed, he too would part company with his stumbling body. He halted before he lost all control and took a deep breath of the damp, unfiltered air. His footsteps had woken the ghosts that waited and whispered in the tunnel. They gathered just beyond the radius of his light. Nice. So one of the lesser condition, worse condition than the others, but something I've never seen before. Never. Colin Anderson, again, not on my radar. And I do like these kind of randoms. So that is a keeper. Read a copy. Very good. And I've got 5 left, and I can see already 2 of the books that also intrigued me. So one was definitely The Stars of Albion, the Panlozin. And this was one of the others. So Illuminatus Sphere, Part 1, The Eye of the Pyramid. Now, these are expensive. I've seen these for, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds. And this was in there and I thought, again, is something wrong? The condition. And I can kind of see, yes, like there's a huge indent there. It's like someone's put it in a pocket like that. But I do not have this. Yeah, look, you see the, yeah. I do not have this. It's, I don't know if it's a touted book in terms of how good it is, but it's touted in terms of its like randomness or rarity, I'd say. The Illuminati, inside joke or hellish conspiracy, were they harmless cranks? or a hellish conspiracy of psychotic lost souls, hidden for centuries, unleashing a weird evil on unsuspecting, defenseless world. It's pretty relevant today when you see a lot of the conspiracy stuff, but I think this, especially part 1, is really difficult to get, and I don't have a copy. And although this is kind of really bent out of shape, I'm not sure I could do much with it. I'm very, very happy to have this, and it was one of the reasons I pulled the trigger. And again, £1.38, amazing deal. I'm very happy with that. Okay, I'm back again. Is that thrice? So we were talking about this and how happy I was to have this. And kind of even better than that is there was also this. So number 2, the Golden Apple, Illuminatus. The same version, very similar condition, very flimsy again. I don't know if that's how they were stored or how they were printed. And this one is 1977. So I think it's a trilogy. So there's only one left, by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. But amazing find. That's £2.70 for those together, right? I'm very, very happy with that. So was Lucifer himself behind it all? Is this one? Saul Goodman was almost ready to believe he was, but Goodman was a New York cop. Only juries believe in fairy stories. It seems unread again. It really does. They're just grimy. So those two, plus the pan lozenge, surely fantastic. Okay, I've only got 3 left, and Andrew J. Offord. When did I have the Andrew J. Offord? I had Early Doors and Andrew J. Offord, didn't I? Yes, The Castle Keeps. So, The Clansman of Andor, again Magnum. Like a He-Man, Conan-esque. I don't know if it's the same as the other one, but reborn in a warrior king's body, he fought to control an alien planet. So these sword and sorcery set on an alien planet, again, don't really rock my world. I do like the more traditional, thought-provoking, poignant, not hard sci-fi, like I'd say like emotional sci-fi, how it affects the human condition, or psychological sci-fi, those kind of things. This doesn't really appeal when I see these, fighting. But again, good condition. I think 70s. Yeah, Dell Publishing, 1978. And that means I've got a couple of Andrew J. Offord when I didn't know anything before. So for a library, to curate a library with some of these more, in my opinion, lesser known authors within the genre, I'm very happy to have that. So I think 2 books left. So number 1, 9 by Laumer. So very good. I'm happy with that. So Sphere Science Fiction, 9 by Laumer. Very enjoyable collection with accent on punch and surprise. 9 dazzling short stories by Keith, our man Keith. First published in Great Britain, 1968 by Faber and Faber. First Sphere Books, 1970. So I think this is the oldest one. And again, very good condition. Look at that for a very modern cover. Someone's just said, well, if we do a few shapes and some random whatevers and fill it in with colour, we'll be all right. Tomorrow times 9, a very enjoyable collection with accent on punch and surprise. I've just repeated that. That was Brian Aldis said that. Splendid. Ebullient Fantasies, Daily Telegraph. Brilliant. End as a hero in which a human being, the first to survive contact with an alien race, returns to Earth is perhaps the best of the bunch. That was Manchester Evening News. That is a definite, very small typeface. I have to get my reading glasses on. But again, doesn't look like it's been read. And very happy. I've been reading a bit of short stories, as you know, with Harlan Ellison. Keith Laumer, I've never read. So that is fantastic. So last book of my 27 book haul. Oh, Should have chose the other one first to land on that, because we've got a fancy again. The Worm Ouroboros. An epic fantasy to compare with Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. A literary event of the first importance. Orville Prescott said that. And it's by E.R. Edison. It's, again, in pretty good condition. So that's B, that's Ballantine, is it? Or Berkeley's Ballantine. Yeah, Ballantine fantasy. So, a couple of Americans. I think it's a yellow text block. It's not faded. I think it's coloured. Really nice. Some interesting illustrations inside. Introduction by Orville Prescott. Illustrations, yeah. It is 30 years since The Worm Ouroboros was first published in England, and 26 since I first succumbed to its potent magic. Okay, it doesn't look like it's been read again. So this might be, I'm going to look this up, this might be one of those strange rarities, and as it's in Ballantine, it might not be that easy to get over here. Adult Fantasy by E.R. Edison, and this is 1967. So this is the oldest book that I've got in this haul, and it's one of the better condition ones. So I'll look that up and definitely go from there. So it is going on the fancy pile. So there are 4 fantasy books. So let's just do a recap, because my box is empty. But really enjoyed that. I haven't done it for a while because I've been working. So I have 4 fantasy books that I will look up, and probably these will go to the charity shop. I have 2 to look up that I think I have for sure these additions to my collection for upgrade potential. And what's that? So that's for 6. I have 21 for my science fiction library, which out of 27 is a really good shout, and I could have the other 2. And for sure, the 3 that I think are the golden ticket within here are the 3 I did originally see on the picture and why I bought it. So Stars of Albion will go in a bag. If it's, I think my bags will just fit that as part of my lozenge collection. And these 2 I do not have, and I am sure they are pretty rare, but please let me know in the comments why these are rare, why you can't get hold of them, what's so special about them. I've only just come across them, but they might be. And yeah, £1.35 for all of them. Amazing deal, and this is why I do it. I will continue to do it. And thank you for joining me on my box opening and my journey towards my science fiction retirement library. So see you again soon. We'll do a bigger one soon, and a few other smaller things to get your teeth into. Thank you.